I'm Kamina Sue, and welcome to my channel Strength Karma. Today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing somebody who I've known for quite a few years. I'm so delighted to reconnect with her, and that is Kimberly Miguel Mullen, who is a renowned dance artist and cultural ethnologist. The topic of this interview today is Dance for Sanity, and I couldn't think of a better person to interview around that subject than Kimberly, who is an absolute professional, and she's been dancing. How long have you been dancing for, Kimberly? Go and tell us a little bit about your background.
Hi, Carmina. Thank you so much for having me. I am, like Carmina said, a dance artist and cultural ethnologist. I've been dancing since I was 19 years old. I grew up as a child studying dance, tap. I was a tapper. I was the click, click, clicker all over the house growing up, making all the noise, and jazz and ballet. And then I transitioned into athletics and found a really a big passion for volleyball, and went into volleyball pretty heavily up until I transitioned into dance when I was 19 years old. I had gotten to the point with athletics where I felt like I just had climaxed. I had reached my maximum. I had been dedicating my whole life up until that point to it, and was ready to kind of find another way to use my body to express. And what intrigued me most about dance and the style of dance that I do is that it combines so many different facets of um, of everything that I was interested in. It combined athleticism, art, creativity, spirituality, and history, culture, spirituality, everything that you actually would ever need is right here in these dance forms. And so it kind of just, when I got introduced to it, it just kind of swept me up and carried me away. And I've been dedicated to pursuing this path for, I think we just said, almost 30 years.
Wow, it's just simply amazing, Kimberly. I can't believe how time has flown past. Oh my goodness. So for those people who are so this is really very, very juicy. I've always been quite fascinated with dance because I know that there's a whole world there of expression, and you're right, of spirituality, and I love how dance just really embodies that, especially with the right, I guess, when it depends on where it comes from. And so how do you see, and especially now when I feel that there's so much separation, there's so much division between people at the moment. The world is actually in quite an interesting place, I think, historically. How do you see the state of the world, and how do you feel that dance can be a way to get healthier and more alive for the average person? And how do you think it could help to heal somebody?
That is such a great question, Carmina, because I have a lot to say about that.
Right.
And I'm going to try to keep it simple because it really is very deep. What I've been able to discover during this time, during a pandemic, and also in a time where we're experiencing so much racial strife among our BIPOC communities. And so it's been really intense, what we're going through. And what I have found through dance is great purpose and meaning. People have really found themselves through dancing during this time, especially since now we have more access to this virtually. And so in a time where we've all been isolated in homes and not really having much connection, in-person connection, somehow we've been able to kind of expand our outreach through the digital realm, through to different countries, and having access to different teachers and artists in other parts of the world. And we're connecting. The community itself has just expanded. And so it's just this really interesting kind of dichotomy of feeling so isolated, but yet feeling so expanded at the same time. And so it's been a really interesting time for me as a dancer and an artist, and connected to serving people, serving humanity with this dance knowledge, and really feeling a responsibility to share the knowledge that my teachers have shared with me about their own ancestral knowledge and indigenous cultures. These dances that I do from Cuba and Brazil we can trace back to early humans. And
Wow.
so these are what I call resilient dance forms. These are dances of survival. These are dances that helped populations grow food, whatever need that they needed to go to war, for fertility issues, for illness and disease, for healing, for medicine. So this is the knowledge that has been passed down inside of the dance traditions that I teach, and now we're finding a place for it in our modern world, where we're actually in a situation of survival. We're actually can utilize these dances to help us, and it's been so amazing. The impact these dances have made on people from around the world, keeping our spirits up, keeping our spirits strong and resilient, to give us great meaning and purpose, and have been used as therapy, has been so profound. That's why I have to stop myself, or else I'll just keep going.
Yes, there's obviously a lot there. No, it's
very deep.
It's very deep. And I loved what you said about dances of resilience, because I think that's actually what we really need, is more of that, instead of relying on something outside of ourselves to be the magic bullet or to give the answers. Because basically the institutions are failing us, and it's like they have been for quite a long time. So it's almost like the only thing you can do is turn towards yourself, but it's a big thing for people to do, obviously. They need teachers like yourself to be able to guide that. And I love how it's somatically based, so people can actually get like a real experience of what they are wanting to achieve.
Absolutely. It's very similar to, I think, I know that you have a yoga background, and I think that a lot of these dances also appeal to the yoga community as well, because of its connection to culture and ancestral culture and knowledge and wisdom, and having a cultural base, but it is a discovery of oneself. The more that you dive deeper into the dances, the more you learn about yourself.
Right.
Inherently.
Yes.
And you grow as a person. I mean, I think a lot of what we talk about inside of our dance classes is, sometimes there's emotional triggers that come up with certain steps and certain dances where we're embodying certain deities or certain mythological archetypes that bring up emotions for us, and we realize, like, wow, that was really challenging emotionally. And then some dances are a lot easier to connect to, and so through the embodiment of these different characters and archetypes and deities, we're able to kind of self-reflect and grow and learn about ourselves. So I always call this a self-refinement process when we're in the process of dancing these dances, because of how much it helps enrich our lives.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting about that, what we were saying before about how, like, with COVID and the whole pandemic, and there's been a lot of separation, how dance is like a group activity. So it's like it's like a real connection that you can make with other people, like a shared experience that's also very joyful.
I agree. And, a lot of people, there's a lot of conversation inside the dance community that's, really holding on to only in-person classes. Like, I'm only going to do in-person classes. And so they're not dancing for a whole year. And then you have the people that have, really discovered that actually, that were part of the in-person live communities, and then have discovered that digital also offers a lot there in terms of community. And it's really fascinating to think that that you are dancing alongside people from all over the world at the same time. And when we do our classes inside of the virtual dance studio, I call it a global dance activation, because we're literally infusing the planet with the frequency of these sacred rhythms and dance steps and songs all over the planet at the same time. And so so I feel like when we all gather together to dance at the same time in real time, that we're helping to uplift the energetic frequency of the planet.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. And that was how it came about, and I don't see why that would be stopping anytime soon, right?
Right.
So what are some common myths around dance that you've come across, you're keen to expel, like especially around adults who might not have a dance background, like myself, for example? There's a little bit of like, it's maybe you feel comfortable dancing in your bathroom to your favorite song, or but it's like, what are some things that you would like to dispel around dance?
I love dispelling myths around dance, because I love to see the reaction when people actually discover that they're capable of dancing and they didn't think they were before. And one of the biggest myths is that you have to be born with a natural ability to dance. And that couldn't be like the farthest thing from the truth. Dance, like any other sport or any other activity, is a learned practice, and it just takes time and commitment and a little bit of dedication to learn it. And even the people that have some natural ability and maybe some rhythm or have had some previous experience, you have to start somewhere. And we're always constantly learning, which is actually one of the reasons why I love dance so much, is because it's something that I feel like I can never get bored with. I just keep growing and learning and discovering. I feel like a forever student. So it's always very satisfying to me to, with my really nerdy side to my personality. It just really keeps me striving for more knowledge. It never gets bored. Something else that always comes up is about age. Age is a big hindrance. A lot of people limit themselves because they think they're too old to start, that, oh, I had to start when I was younger, and now that I'm older, there's just no way. And one of the things that I love about the specific style of dance that I teach is that my dance teachers are in their 90s.
Wow.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, and one of the great things about the dance forms that I specifically study is that the longer that you do them, the better it gets. So it's like, I always say, it's like fine wine.
Yes, absolutely.
The older you get, the older you get, the more in touch. It's like your body gets wiser, right? With the way that you do the movements, the more hours of repetition that you have accumulated in your body. And so that's what makes dancing so timeless and youthful at any age, is that you can continue to do this until you're, in your 90s. We're not doing anything not anatomically correct to how the body naturally moves. So we're only accentuating the natural movements of how the individual body parts move. So it's actually turns out to be more like therapy. And we talk a lot about mobility and flexibility and strength inside of our classes, because we are, accessing these individual body parts on such a deep way. So yeah, it's fascinating. I love it. So I think that people have a perception that ballet is considered to be the highest art of dance that you can achieve. And again, what I have discovered through my research and travels and living abroad in different countries, immersing myself in the cultures where these dances come from, these cultural dance forms are definitely on the same level as ballet in terms of lifestyle, dedication, and technique. you know, it takes years and years and years of dedication to be able to achieve and execute these dances on a very high level. And these dances are recognized inside their culture as that. So it'd be really nice to just see that same amount of recognition for cultural dance here in the United States and outside of their countries.
What makes you unique in the world of dance, and what is your mission?
Oh, this is a really great question, Carmina. Well, I feel like what makes me unique is perhaps the years that I have invested in the immersion of these dances in different countries, and the academic intellectual work that I've done alongside of the actual dance technique. There's people that just do the intellectual work, and then there's some people that just do the dance. And I've really made it a point to do both, because I believe that in order, because I'm an outsider to the cultural dance traditions, I'm not born in the country, and I wasn't raised in the religion from where these dances were derived. I owe it to the cultures to really to educate myself in all aspects of this work so that I can represent the dances with integrity and help contribute to the preservation of these dances, versus what's happened in the past with some have been to, you know, exploit the dances. And so it's really a personal mission of mine to really represent these dances authentically and to help kind of progress the dances in a way that I mean, I think culture is always going to evolve, and there's always going to be changes inside of the culture, but I want to be part of the positive progress for that and help the preservation for that, so that we can continue to have access to this medicine in a modern world that's moving so fast, that these indigenous ancestral dances is really what will help ground us into the future.
I love that you said that. That is so true. It's like we don't need more of what we already have. We actually need to be going back to things that have been quite neglected. And I think also like technology, like people are so unembodied now, don't you find, Kimberly? Like they're just all in here and they're on their devices, and it's that's why these things, I think, I loved how you said it was medicine. I think that's so apt. And so for somebody who is interested in dance, they want to integrate like a little bit of some of the medicine in their life, and I also want to have you also share where people can find you as well. But what are some take-home tips for people who who are keen to implement those benefits?
So you can benefit from dance by turning on your favorite song and having little 10-minute dance breaks on a daily basis. So the funnest thing to do, if you ever want to shift your energy, or you ever feel like you need to get out of a funk, or you just feel kind of bogged down by something, the best way to shift that energy is just to turn on your music, close your eyes, and just move to the music for 10 minutes, and to take note of how you feel after. And I guarantee you will be smiling by the end of that 10 minutes. You'll forget everything that happened before. I always like to train before I get ready to sit down to do a lot of work, or I need to focus mentally, because I really feel like moving my body helps my brain work better. So what else? I would also call a friend, have a Zoom date. If you're not in person, you can't meet, call a friend, get on Zoom and dance together, and have like a dance party. That is the funnest thing, to be dancing in community with people. And a lot of people are really enjoying being able, like I said, to connect to people online virtually and being able to dance with each other. So that's another thing I would do. Also, just as a technique, just try to kind of pay attention to your feet, would be the first thing. If you are just starting out as a dancer, don't try to get the whole movement on the first try. Try to pick one part of the body, just maybe even the feet, or if you're even just zeroing in on the knees or the ankles, and just try to get one thing out of that class or that movement that you like, and then slowly add on the layers to the different body parts as you feel ready. A lot of times people kind of jump into a movement and then it's multi-layered movement that involves head and arms and chest and shoulders, and then they quit because they're like, I can't get it. Well, take it in stages, take it in stride, and start off with the feet always.
Wow. And so I know whoever's watching this would be very excited to find out more about you, Kimberly. And where can they find, first of all, your virtual classes and where you're teaching? It sounds like you're going to be touring, because I know you'll be heading off to Cuba pretty soon. So where can people find more about you? Where can they find out where to actually train with you and attend your classes?
People can train with me and dance with me. I teach inside of my virtual dance studio. It's called the kmmdancestudio.com. And we open enrollment twice a year and welcome in new members to our community. And we're a global community of dancers, like-minded dancers from all over the world. And you can become part of our family. It's a really affordable rate. It was my way. Moving my business online has just been such a great way to be able to offer more of myself to more people, and so at a lower price. So I'm teaching inside of my studio 3 times a week. So we get about 12 live classes a month. And then there's an archive of over 400 classes. I also do in-person retreats internationally and host cultural art immersion programs in the Caribbean and around the world.
People can find out more about those things. Are you also on different social media platforms and things like that?
Yes, I'm on Facebook under Kimberly Miguel Mullen, and I'm on Instagram under KMM Virtual Dance Studio.
Wow, fantastic, Kimberly. Well, we'll also be having the links to all of those different properties of Kimberly's below this interview here. So please check her out. She's obviously such an amazing person. I'm so glad we got to connect again today.
Me
so thank
too,
you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. And I love what you do. So I'm really thrilled to be talking with you. And I love your channel, and I love watching what you're doing and hearing your perspectives. And because I know you're so informed with so many different modalities and methodologies. And so I always learn something new too when I go to your page as well. So we should collaborate.
We should collaborate. Okay, let's hold that thought.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Kimberly. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, as I post content weekly. Thanks so much for watching this one, and we'll see you in the next video.